to our new space. Transmedia in New York City. In case you came here to see a movie, skip the movie, this is more fun. Transmedia in New York City is a meetup group that's been meeting for a little over a year and a half now. And we've gradually gone from meeting in ad agencies and other ad hoc spaces into this space here. And this kind of marks a new chapter for us, so welcome. For those of you who are new to the group, what we generally do is we meet almost always on the third Tuesday of every month. This month is a little bit of an exception. And we get together folks who are either transmedia practitioners, enthusiasts, friends, followers, curious people, family members, mom, dad, anyone you like, who's interested in checking out what's going on in the transmedia scene. And we have a wide variety of people in our midst. We have people from film, from theater, from advertising, pretty much any art form whatsoever can find a place in transmedia. So welcome to you all. Amongst you are some very interesting and accomplished people. I encourage you to meet them afterwards. My name, in case I did not tell you, is Gyda Arber. I'm the founder of this meetup. And I have with me today two members of my team, Mike Knowlton, who's down here, and Jen Beagle, who's manning the live stream. And with us are some very awesome folks from Film Society who made this possible. Matt Bolish, who's here. Eugene Hernandez, who's also here. And once again, I have to thank our fairy godfather, Brian Clark. Without Brian's intervention, we would not be in this space. So we're very happy that he made the connection and that we can bring our awesome people here and benefit from what you guys are doing. So with that, I will turn it over to Eugene, and he can tell you a little bit about what's going on here.
I won't be too long, but I just wanted to take a moment to welcome everyone, first of all. And let me say that our executive director, I'm Eugene Hernandez from the Film Society of Lincoln Center. In a previous life, I worked with Brian Clark on a company called IndieWire. We started many years ago in the 90s. I'm now here at the Film Society, an organization that is, well, just a few years older than me, so that means it's been around for a really long time. Film Society of Lincoln Center, for those of you who are here for the first time, is one of the leading film organizations in the country. We were thrilled to have this new facility open. We just opened this summer, in Union Monroe Film Center. Our film center here at Lincoln Center is not only this amphitheater, but two traditional theaters next door on either sides of this room. But this space is a big part of why I'm here and hopefully why you're here, and that's what I wanted to just touch on for a moment. The Film Society, I'm the head of digital strategy at the Film Society, and that I don't really know what that means. Someone asked me recently what that means, and it means I have to try to figure out what that means. My job is to figure out what my job is. I'm still figuring it out. It's been almost a year. But what it means to me is that the Film Society, which has been around for 40 plus years, is an organization that is committed to celebrating and criticizing and showcasing the best of cinema. And where the organization goes is partially what you're going to help us figure out as well. I think something that Matt, my colleague, has talked a lot about, and we really believe in trying to figure this out with you and with the creative community, with the arts community in the city, trying to figure out what this organization becomes, and also what this space becomes literally. So we're open to ideas, we're open to conversations, we're open to presenting on this massive television screen your work, the work of your colleagues, work that you find interesting. So share it with us, come talk to us before, during, and after these events. We're glad to have you in the space. We'll be excited to see what you have to offer in this space over the next
20 years.
20, 30, 40 years. Make the most of the space. This space was built. I wasn't here when this space was conceived, but David Rockwell, who's the architect, had some really brilliant ideas, and I think that we're all learning how to use this space. It's designed to be sort of what he calls the living room of Lincoln Center. and it's accessible and it's approachable, and it embodies so much of what we're trying to develop and create here at the Film Society. So welcome, have a great time. I'm glad to be here. I want to send a special regards on behalf of our executive director, Rose Quo, who unfortunately cannot be here tonight. She would be sitting in the front row. This is what we're doing here tonight, and the kinds of things that the Film Society is doing in the future are part of the reason that she joined the Film Society a year ago, and she brought in people like myself and Matt Bolich and some of the other folks here at the Film Society. So welcome, have a great time, looking forward to enjoying today's event. So thanks.
Brian, would you come down and tell us about what's happening this weekend? There's some very exciting events happening that are free and open to the public, and we encourage our membership to check it out.
Absolutely. So hey guys, Brian Clark. I can't believe you didn't plug the fact that Friday is the opening of the New York Film Festival.
I heard you were
right here in this facility. So next year is the 50th anniversary of the film festival, and we're going to try to make transmedia a really big part of it next year. We're calling the series Beyond the Screen. We're going to try to table set it this year. So there's going to be panels here in this room on Saturday and Sunday of this week, a 5 p.m. and a 7 p.m. So on Saturday at 5 p.m. is going to be the first sort of table setting. What is transmedia? Really for hopefully a brand new audience that hasn't heard this before. And then the 7 o'clock is about documentaries and in the age of transmedia activism. Then Sunday at 5 p.m. there's one on gaming and narrative that's being moderated by the folks from Kill Screen. And then at 7 p.m. one about narrative and transmedia being moderated by Lance Wilder. So all of those are free and open to the public. We encourage you guys to come. We encourage you guys to bring people who are your friends but aren't practitioners. We're going to gear this towards an audience, not necessarily the level that we're doing here where it's practitioner to practitioner. So this will be a great way to get a film festival audience warmed up for next year, where hopefully you guys will have work that they can experience the same way they're experiencing filmmakers' new films. So 5 p.m., 7 p.m., Saturday, Sunday, please come, fill up the room, it'll be a great time.
Just a couple of the kind of nitty-gritty details. Like you probably figured out, the Wi-Fi is film guest, so please feel free to live tweet. Our hashtag is transmedia NYC. If you haven't already, please like our Facebook page, facebook.com/transmedia NYC. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Gyda Arber of the Fifth Wall. She'll be presenting her genre-defying project, Red Cloud Rising. The New York Times called it theater outside the theater, and brilliant. So we're really excited to hear about it, Gyda. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. So excited to be here. I actually have been doing transmedia for about 3 years. I was telling Mike this earlier. So I didn't know that there were other people who did this kind of thing. And I thought I was such a strange person. And it was so exciting last year when I don't know, through some Google search, realized that there's a thing, it's called transmedia, and that other people do this. So that sort of blew my mind. And I've been meaning to come to one of these meetups for a while, but opening a new show was made that a little difficult. So, but I'm really excited to be here and speak for you guys. So I hope this is interesting. Anyway, so Red Cloud Rising is the show that it's still running. We opened in July, the beginning of July, and we have 2 more weekends of performances right now. The New York Times Review made it really easy to sell tickets, so that was nice. We've extended and extended and extended it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of the history of my work and sort of how I got to this point, and then I will go into more details about the show and answer any questions you have. Also, Art Wallace is here. He's one of the actors in my show. Art, stand up, please. There we go. So he's also here to answer any questions. He's sort of our man on the street during the performance. So I'm sure he will also have some insights to share. Okay, so let's get started. So I started out as an actress. So that's me playing Anna Nicole Smith in a show. And so I was doing a lot of shows with the Brick, so I definitely come from a theatrical background. I studied musical theater at NYU and all of that traditional actressy stuff. And I found myself working at the Brick, which is this awesome little theater space in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, and they totally encourage creativity and are totally amazing to their artists. And they do a festival every year that has a theme. And we were doing, I think it was called the Film Festival, a theater festival, which was theater about film and film about theater and how the two meet. And I had this idea for a show called Suspicious Package. That's what it ended up being called. I didn't know what it was called when I had the idea. But it would take place entirely on MP3 players. And so I had this idea, and I told the artistic director, one of the artistic directors of the theater, and I had never written a show, I didn't know anything about making a show, I'd always just been in shows. And so I told him, I said, oh, I have this great idea, this would be amazing, you should do it. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, you should make a show with iPods. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. He was like, you should do it. And I was like, what? I'm an actress, I don't know. And he was like, yeah, the festival's in June. It's in the festival, so start doing it, because you're going to be in the festival. And I was like, what? So that was totally crazy. So I had to basically come up with this show. And so the basic concept of the show was that I wanted to create an experience where every audience member became the star of the show. And, you know, I sort of love the idea of interactive theater, but I've always felt that for me, it never quite came together because, you know, if you're at a clown show and they're doing something cool, or a magic show and they pick someone out of the audience, and if you want to be that person, you know, as a little kid, I would always raise my hand and I would never get picked, and I would be so sad. And it'd be awesome if you're the person that gets picked, but like, what about all the other people who don't get picked? That's kind of a bummer. So I wanted to have a show where everyone got picked to be in the show. So the idea was that you would get an iPod, and or in this case, we ended up using Zooms because they're cheaper, and I can lock them so people don't mess with them. You can drop them easier, and a lot of you can on eBay for like $25 now. So, but they're preloaded with a video file, and the video file tells you what to do. So it starts out and it gives you instructions. So it'll say exit the theater and take a left, and you do that, and a little map will appear, and you'll go somewhere, and you'll go into, say, a jewelry store, and then one of the other people that is doing the show with you will also be in the jewelry store, and then some lines will appear on your screen, and then you'll read the lines to them, and then you end up acting out a scene. So you end up acting out this film noir, because I always wanted to be in a film noir. So basically, I write shows that I want to do, and luckily other people seem to like them, so that's very exciting. So it's kind of hard to explain. So the BBC did a short piece on it that's like 2 minutes long, and it actually is much better at explaining the show than I am, so I'm going to play that for you with your indulgence, but I think it'll be a little bit clearer. So.
Normally, walking around with headphones in is a way of closing yourself off from the world, withdrawing. But in Edinburgh this year, there's a spate of shows that are using MP3 players to make you interact with them theatrically, and even in some cases, become an actor. First up is Suspicious Package, an interactive noir, where the audience become the cast. Each of us takes a part, the showgirl, the producer, the detective, in this case me, and so on. Our stage is Edinburgh's Grassmarket, and the MP3 players are there to get us in the mood with some noirish music, and provide us with instructions.
Welcome to Suspicious Package, where you become the noir. Please do your best to follow instructions as they are given, and to appear when and where you are told.
Hey, the guy with the briefcase. That's me. What's he got there? Suspicious. Better keep an eye on him. Where's he going? That's not what we're meeting.
You get really into it, and I felt, after a while, I felt quite happy running through the Grassmarket with a silly hat on, pretending to follow this man. It also very neatly gets around the fact that the average Edinburgh audience is really, really small. You only need 6 people for it, so it's great. It's almost like the perfect show. You don't need to get lots of people. Here comes Detective Danny's first big scene.
You want something?
That sure yourself will kill you. You're the guy with the problem. Is it Dane or money?
Both. I got a dame who's costing me.
Every now and again, a man pops up, and you have to find your way to a specific location and perform a scene with one of the other 5 audience members / actors.
A private detective? Who hired you?
You're old enough to work a crossword puzzle, aren't you? Ain't you?
You're not getting in trouble.
Finally, the big showdown, where frankly, I gave what Eric described as an acting master. Got that down, honey.
This isn't sweetener, sweetheart. It's cyanide.
What?
What?
What? You really get into it. You get kind of locked into it. I think because everything is blocked out through the headphones, you do kind of forget for a moment that you're in Edinburgh and you actually do straight into this film noir fantasy, and you've got all these voices going over your head. It's actually not that good to do after a night of drinking.
So that's the Suspicious Package. That's sort of the show that got me to this show. There were quite a few things that we discovered in that. First of all, it's really fun. Obviously, it's very silly. So I really wanted people to have a good time, which generally was the case, thankfully. The other thing, we did it for 6 people at a time, so it was a small group. And the thing that we discovered that was really great was that we would get people who didn't know each other. My favorite group would be groups of 6 strangers. And by the end, we'd all meet up afterward, and people would be like, "Oh my God, you were following me, and that happened," and they were acting like they had known each other their whole lives. The experience of doing this 45, 50-minute show made them best friends. And we would all usually we'd have a drink afterward, and that was actually built into the ticket price of the show when we did it in New York. And people would sit down and they would swap stories, and they would talk about where they were and what they did. I sort of felt like the host of a party. I was introducing people, and they got to make these connections. That they, would meet these people and play with them in a way that they would never have done. As a New Yorker, it's hard to meet people, I think, a lot of the time. And, there's so many cool, awesome people living in New York, but I think, we're all kind of too cool to really, say hi to people a lot of the time. Maybe not this room, but maybe the rest of us in New York have trouble with that. So I kind of found that it was this great way to kind of facilitate relationship building. And that really, really excited me. So it was something that I really wanted to continue. In terms of transmedia, obviously, we had film on the MP3 players, but we also used Facebook. We took a cast photo of every cast, and we put them on Facebook. And people would go online and tag themselves and tag their friends, and people would become friends on Facebook based on who was tagged in the photo with them. So that became a really great way to use social media. And so it was sort of inadvertent. I don't know why I decided to do this, but it became a big part of the show. People loved seeing these cast photos. So after Suspicious Package, it was at the Brick Theater in Brooklyn originally. We also did it in Edinburgh. It was totally, people really loved it. We sold tons of tickets. It was very exciting. So we started a festival. The next year, after the film festival, theater festival, we did a festival called Gameplay, which goes on every year. It's every July, and we kind of got the impetus for this based on not only Suspicious Package, but there were a bunch of other artists that were working at the Brick that were also sort of exploring the same game/theater world. One of them is this guy Eddie Kim. There's a small picture there. He actually creates plays in video games live. He actually has virtual. It's like machinima, if anyone knows what that is. He has virtual puppeteers, and he actually is a teacher. And the people, those boys sitting there, are all teenagers. And it's amazing. He actually finds that for some of his work, he said he's tried to use adults, but they're not good enough gamers. There's this one, he did a show, this is part of Grand Theft Ovid, and they did a music battle with Apollo, and I can't remember the other character, but it was in Guitar Hero, and these two teenagers are playing guitar, the hardest song in Guitar Hero on the hardest level, and just watching them, you're like, whoa. If you've played Guitar Hero for 2 seconds, it means people were amazing. And he also does a lot of the stuff in World of Warcraft, which is amazing. And he does it live in World of Warcraft. So you can watch the show as a World of Warcraft player, or he also projects it on the screen of the brick. And what's great is people in World of Warcraft lose it when you do a play in World of Warcraft. They lose it. They're like, what are you doing? What is this? Why would you talk to me? And they jump and they like throw things. And they go ballistic. And so it's so fun to watch because like these guys, they just do the play. So like they, if they're doing Romeo and Juliet, they're doing Romeo and Juliet and they just do it. And these characters, like they can't deal with the fact that these people are doing Romeo and Juliet in World of Warcraft, and they freak out. And it's so funny. It's amazing to watch. So that's Eddie Kim's work. He was also doing stuff with the brick, that singer that I did, Stitches Package. And another group is called Sneaky Snake. This is a picture of their show Adventure Quest. And they're sort of obsessed with those old text-based games, like King's Quest, the Sierra Soft stuff. Did anyone play those? Yes. Okay, I'm not the only one. Good. And so this show explored sort of the frustrations of being a player playing those games. When you'd be like, open box, and be like, you can't do that. You'd be like, fuck you, box. Like you would type that. We all typed that. So the guy on the left was the hero, and he sort of would go through this process of getting frustrated with the game as he was acting it out, and then he sort of has an existential crisis, and he kills people, and he's like, oh my god, like I killed people, like that's kind of not cool, actually. And it's very funny, but also very touching. So that's another gameplay show, and then there's another group of these two guys are classical guitarists, and they have hacked into different systems to actually control video games using classical guitar, which is unbelievable. I have a very short clip. They call themselves Modal Combat, and it's amazing. And I have a very short clip of them playing Big Buck Hunter.
Buck Hunter.
So that's Modal Combat. So these are all artists that were doing stuff at Gameplay. I'm the executive producer of the Gameplay Festival, so I'm sort of in love with all of these artists. But they do amazing things. So we created this first Gameplay Festival out of this Eddie Kim work and the Adventure Quest, and I actually did a show called Suspicious Package RX, which is like the sequel to Suspicious Package. And so the first one was a film noir, so this was a Twilight Zone episode, basically. So I actually have a short clip of that as well. Please be patient with me. There's some green screening that this was designed to be seen on a very small screen, so there's some kind of careless green screening that you could not read on a very small screen, but on this gigantic screen you can see like, oh, my sloppy green screening. So I apologize in advance for that.
I'm standing outside Blue Star Pharmaceuticals, the pioneer in the field, which has just released a new drug, Cycle 5. It uses microscopic robots, or nanites, to correct imperfections in the brain.
Melissa, are you saying that this drug is entirely made up of tiny robots?
Dick, that's exactly what I'm saying.
You want to try Cycle 5?
Everyone takes it. Cycle 5?
Don't you watch the news?
Cycle 5, silly.
Just take one of these.
So those clips are from the flashbacks that you get when you do Suspicious Package. And in case it wasn't clear, every iPod or every MP3 player in Suspicious Package is a completely separate video file. They're all synced up, but your story is completely different than the other five people that are doing it. So each character has their own trajectory, their own flashbacks, their own voiceover. So your experience is not. I mean, you guys meet up with each other, but you have your own point of view. So everyone kind of gets to be the star of the show. That was sort of my point in doing that. So anyway, moving on to Red Cloud. So this is the show I'm working on now. So it opened in July as part of the Gameplay Festival. So we had several goals with the show. God, this is like so presenty now. We had several goals with the show. Sorry. I don't normally give presentations, so forgive me. So one of the goals was to keep the group interaction. I love that idea of making strangers friends. So I really wanted to create another environment where that was facilitated on every level. Another one was to explore the ARG space. There are a lot of shows in gameplay, but none of them had really explored the alternate reality gaming world. So that was something we really wanted to do. The thing about alternate reality games that I find difficult is that they require such a huge time commitment. If you're, over months and you have to check the website every Tuesday for new content and solving puzzles. And I think ARGs are amazing, but I just have always found it difficult to actually play one because I don't have that kind of time on a regular basis. So I wanted to create something that was like an ARG that you could do in an afternoon. I also wanted to incorporate live actors. Suspicious Package had no actors at all. I sort of hosted it, but basically the show was entirely performed by the audience members. So I really wanted to start playing with the idea of introducing actors into the world of these events. I also wanted to explore a message. The two Suspicious Package shows were very fun, but they were really that. They were fun. They were kind of a play space. So I wanted to keep the kind of funness, but I also did want to sort of incorporate a little more artsy themes. So I kind of chose Wall Street and corporate greed and all that stuff. So the show definitely touches on that. If you're in tune with that, you'll definitely pick up on that. If you completely want to ignore it, you can do that and still have a good time. But I did want to kind of bring that in, sort of expand artistically a little bit, and also just I wanted to make it fun. It's really important to me that people have a really good time. So Red Cloud. So the process of actually doing Red Cloud, you start out. You buy tickets. You can buy tickets on the Brick website, and then that morning or the day before, you'll get an email, which comes from Charlotte Gaffney, who's the director of recruitment at Gyda Financial, and it's a very positive email about how excited she is that you're coming for this recruitment event. We've actually had people tell me that they were like, I didn't know what that email was about. So weird. And then you go to a Wall Street office building. This is directly next to the New York Stock Exchange. And we actually rented a conference room there on the weekends, which was easier than you would think. So I wanted to do that, and it was not very difficult. And then you meet with Charlotte, who's played by me. Although this weekend coming up, I'm going on vacation, and I actually have another actress who's taking over for me, which is very exciting. And so you can see everyone gets a name tag, and we show this video, which sort of gives a little history on Gyda Financial, which is this big financial firm. So I will play you guys the video.
Going to work is like a great adventure. I really look forward to going to work.
Everyone does what they love, and that's the best thing, because when you do what you love, you do the best work.
It's not your typical investment firm.
People come here with dreams and aspirations, and we're here to support that.
Keeps you guessing. You're constantly on the go, and you're always looking at something new.
There's a really clear vision. We all work as a team. we're able to actualize so many wonderful deals. And I would say you make the world a bit of a better place.
Especially for the little people.
Hi, I'm Talbot Bitter, president of Bitter Financial and the great-great-great-great-grandnephew of its founder, Richard Bitter. Bitter Financial was built on the promise that positive relationships are the foundation for any organization. And I'm not just talking about business relationships. Here at Bitter Financial, we value our human capital just as much.
The perks here, one of the perks here that I really like is lunch.
They have a chef that we keep on staff. Just wonderful, wonderful meals.
Gym membership, that's great.
That's a big plus.
Yeah, it helps that it's in here in the building.
The PTOs are great.
Oh, yes.
Every employee gets a $25,000 training budget. It's like for any class you want to take. Anything on personal improvement, leadership, speaking.
I was tired of working for a company where you just feel like a number.
I'm so proud of what I do.
It's not just about doing a job. You work together as a team.
Yeah, it's really a community. It's a true family.
I think once you come in and you start working for the firm, you'll see that we're very open and we like to share. And it's not about who's bigger than who or anything like that.
You know what? I would say we are just one big family.
We're friends in the office and outside of the office.
Bitter Financial has been providing quality financial leadership for over 6 generations. As my great-great-great-great-granduncle famously said, the fortitude of any organization is based solely on the quality of its leadership. Here at Bitter Financial, we are continually looking for new leaders for this evolving company.
Bitter Financial.
Do you have what it takes?
So that's our recruiting video. So we show that in the conference room as part of the show, and lots of times people laugh, but not always. We actually had one gentleman who was convinced he was in the wrong place, and he was insisting that he was here for a show. And we really try to create this environment of this, that this is reality. So, if someone says, I'm here for Red Cloud, I'm like, oh, the recruitment event guest is right here. And, if they say that. So this guy was like, I'm here for the show. I'm not supposed to be recruited. I'm not interested in a job. I'm here for a show. We're like, no, it's fine. Just, have a seat. It'll be fine. And we showed the video, and he was there with his partner, and after the video, his partner gets up and is like, I don't want any part of this. I need to leave. And he leaves. He storms out. And then the guy was like, I'm definitely in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong place. I'm here for a show. And this one of the, my character can't really say that because they're for that you're in a show. But one of our audience members, she turns to him and she goes, yeah, you're in a show. It's a show right now. And he's like, oh. And then it was fine. They collected his partner and they ended up doing it. They had a great time. And we had a big laugh about it afterwards. So some people think the video is creepy. I think it's a little creepy, which was kind of the point. I watched a lot of recruiting videos on YouTube for doing this, and sadly, this is not a big stretch. This is what they're like. Anyway, so then Charlotte gives you your assignment, which we can do that, and then you're off on the streets of Lower Manhattan. And you have to solve several clues. There's some puzzles. I don't want to give too much away because if you do want to come see the show and I tell you what the puzzles are, it's not fun anymore. But there's several puzzles you end up solving. You meet a couple of crazy people who may or may not be actually crazy. And there's several things also that we tried to incorporate in the game. Bitter Financial, of course, has a website. I kind of designed these as like bonuses for people who were really into it. And then I know people have smartphones, but I didn't think they'd all be checking them during the game, and then everyone does. So, which is fine, I wasn't expecting that. So Bitter has a website. And then also Renee Veert, who is played by Art Wallace here, He has a website as well. He's sort of a conspiracy theorist. You know, you can read about Monsanto's corn, which is true, actually. But there are also there's some things on here that are sound a little crazy. There are also things that are true. And we have a not too used Twitter account, but Bitter has a kind of corporate account that they rarely use. So these are things that people do end up checking during the game, although you don't have to at all. And then, of course, afterward, we have our drink, which I kept from Suspicious Package. So that, and again, everyone loves to get together. I basically like to force people to hang out. If you don't make them have a drink, then they leave, but they want to talk to everyone, so you kind of have to force them to talk to everyone, which is fun. And then you get another email from Charlotte saying, you know, great job. And we have a Facebook page as well where we put the photos up. You take a photo as part of the show, but usually they're really low res, so that hasn't worked out quite as well as the Suspicious Package photos. And to do this, we use Twilio. You guys are probably super familiar with Twilio, which is great, and it's a PHP program. We have a PHP script that runs it, and that's pretty easy. Although we've been having a lot of AT&T issues, which is kind of weird. People don't always get their texts. Do you guys want to try the first couple of minutes of it?
Oh no, sure.
So you take out your cell phones. You don't have to, but if you want to. And if you're watching on the live stream, you can totally participate right now. If you're watching on the live stream and it's recorded, please don't, because you might join a group by accident and then you'll get all these messages that don't make any sense. So if you could take out your phone and text message your first name and your first name only to the following phone number, and I will repeat it lots of times. 347-662-2742. 347-662-2742. So if you just text your first name, and we've never tried it with this many people before, so it might not work, but it might work. So it's worth a shot. So 347-662-2742. I got Jim, I got Kevin, I got Zach, I got Nick, I got Steve S, I got Julia. So it's working. Leon, Cassandra, Ren, Jeff. See, I can see this. Sure, it's 347-662-2742. And if this were the game, I would tell you to save this in your phone as bitter. What?
I just texted something strange.
Awesome. People are going to be like, what is this? Why are people sending me my name? 347-662-2742. And during the, oh my god, there's a lot of people. Cool. Is everyone who wants to be in? Yeah? Okay, so at this point I would ask you, if I were Charlotte, to save the number in your phone as bitter, which will become clear in a second, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so call the number. Everybody. Hopefully this will work.
Busy.
Oh no! We've never done this many people. It's not over. So after the call, you should get a text message. So don't, if you got the text message, don't do anything yet. Oh, did you already?
Just watching everyone play with their phone.
This is what I do all day.
It's awesome.
So has anyone gotten a text message? Yes. Okay, has anyone replied to it yet?
No.
One person has replied? Okay, someone else reply. What? Does anyone know the answer to the question? Did anyone remember? What's the text message? Where did I go to college? Okay, it's not normally that, but I don't want to. So, does anyone remember?
NYU.
Yes. So, we put in NYU. This is the part that might not work, but hopefully it will. There's a lot of people in this group, so.
The look on your face is the best. The look of anticipation, like you're
I don't
waiting
know.
for a reaction from us.
Oh, this part might not work. There might be 2 people in the group. So you sent NYU. Did you get a call back?
Got a text back.
You got a text back. What did it say?
Well done, candidate. Ponder this keyword. Recipient.
Okay.
Stand by for your next one.
Okay, wait.
I got a call.
Your phone should ring.
Oh.
Pick up your phone.
Better financial analysis.
Oh, it is working.
Hello?
It shouldn't be your mom. So did people get their call back?
Yes.
What did that say?
Data financially capitalized.
Yes, exactly. So that's sort of how it works. We have people go through, once you solve a puzzle, you send a text. And then if you're in a small group, everyone's phone rings at the same time, which is cool. And the first time that happens, people are like, oh my God. And you'll note that it's a different phone number. That's really important. So we have 2 phone numbers. We have the bidder financial phone number, and then we have the 646 number, which is Red Cloud. So any communiques coming from Red Cloud come from that number. So that's basically how it works, but it's like 2 to 3 hours, depending on you. Some groups are super fast, some groups are super slow. And so along the way, again, you meet art, you meet another actor, we have a lot of activities, kind of puzzles for you to solve. Again, I don't want to say too much because if you come, then you'll be like, oh, of course it's that. This is so dumb. But when you don't know what the puzzle answers are, it's fun. Okay, so some challenges that we faced so far. One of them has been Occupy Wall Street. New York changes a lot. So the first few months were, we had to do some problem solving, but we're pretty much okay. And then Occupy Wall Street started, 3 weekends ago? Yeah, so we just had our 3rd weekend. So that we had to rewrite a lot of things in the show because some of our locations no longer are no longer available, open to the public. So that's been a challenge, but luckily we've been able to do that. But there's been some quick thinking. Luckily, our actors are pretty awesome and are able to redo things on the fly. So that's been good. Another thing that's kind of been an issue for us is text reliability. I mentioned this earlier. AT&T, for some reason, I don't know, you do not always get texts. So that's kind of been a sort of a challenge for us. But usually people who have AT&T know that. So then you tell them, and then they go, oh yeah. And then they don't get mad. So basically the way we set it up is that if everyone in the group is participating, as long as one person in the group responds, the group moves ahead. So that was not the original way that it was designed, but we found that we sort of had to do it that way. And then that actually has worked out really well. So I guess it's just been a lot of problem solving. You think you do something and it's over when it starts, and we've kind of been rewriting the PHP script almost every week based on what people do. Oh, I have a question. Yes.
So the group moves through the experience together.
Yes, the group moves through the experience together. Again, it was something I really wanted to do. It's kind of a bonding experience. People have a really great time with it. And people who don't know each other get to know each other. And then I've instructed the actors do lots of things along the way to encourage that. When you meet with Charlotte, she has everyone introduce themselves and say their names, and you have name tags. And then you do stuff to get people.
Yeah, I tell them they have to follow better scripts, or they can't be suspected of anything, and so it keeps them all.
Yeah, so he makes them kind of coalesce if they're not coalesced, and the third actor as well does that. So if people are sort of fragmenting, we kind of force them back to working together. And then also the video, all of that stuff about teamwork and we're one big happy family, and all of that. Charlotte's like, as you can tell from our video, that's very important to us. So people are sort of giving this this line of working together and teamwork. But generally, people who buy tickets for this are pretty cool people. So generally, it's not hard to get people to. You're not going to come if you think this is the lamest thing ever. If you're not fun at all, you're not going to come. So, why would you be like, oh, I'm going to do a scavenger hunt theatrical thing all weekend, but I hate fun. You're not going to come. So we actually haven't really had a problem. Generally, the people who show up are so awesome and have so many cool interests and are amazing people. So getting them to meet and hang out with each other is really easy. The other thing that's kind of been a challenge has been the administration time. The emails, I didn't end up writing a script for sending out all those emails before and after, which I should have done. So I've been really basically actually just sending those out, and I'm also working full time, so that was folly on my part. In retrospect, I don't know, some sort of automated system for that would have been a good idea. So I'm sorry if you're watching and you haven't gotten your email from Charlotte yet. I apologize. I will do it tomorrow morning. Anyway, so that's basically the show. I hope you guys have a lot of questions. Okay, so go ahead, ask them. Yeah, let's open it up for questions. And Art, you want to hang out? Art totally does all the troubleshooting and on the street, so he's sort of our man.
One thing to mention is that we do it 4 times each day, like on a Saturday and 4 times on a Sunday. So that's a part of the whole experience of keeping these groups apart and moving and all that kind of stuff. So it's not just one group; it's like 4 groups.
And we stagger them about every 15 to 20 minutes. So that they do all simultaneously.
Question over here.
Can you say, so you said the 4, so how many audience members can that be a day? And then, I don't know what the ticket prices are, so I'm just hearing that. And then also, do you give them a boundary, an area where you tell them they can or cannot go?
Okay, so we do it first, the groups are 6 people in a group. We can do it with 8 if it's a private group of people who know each other, but we found that if it's more than 6 people who don't know each other, then they start to become 2 different groups. And we don't want to do that. So 6 is kind of the maximum. Really for the experience, you could do it with larger groups, but I really want that experience of really getting to know the people in your group and working with them. So we cap it out at 6, but again, if it's a private group of friends, it can work with up to 8. Tickets are $30, so we've tried to keep it super affordable. And the last thing was, sorry, I forgot. Oh, the boundary, no, there's no boundary. People know it's downtown. We haven't really had any problems though with people going too far off. We had one group, we don't know where they went, but but then Art gave them a creepy phone call, so it worked out fine. There's a point at which you're supposed to find some red clouds, and you're supposed to find them based on where the last clue was. They're very close to that, so it's not really a stretch if you're where you're supposed to be. And we don't know where they went, but so Art called them.
They were a group that did all new things that no one had ever done. They went outside the building, and the assignment is to deliver an envelope.
Yeah, so you get an envelope at the beginning, and it says, your assignment from Charlotte is to deliver this envelope. It is up to you to determine to whom and to where. And there's a big phone number written on the envelope. So almost everyone goes downstairs, and what do? They call the number on the envelope. And this group didn't do that. They were very.
Like every single thing they did, they found another way to approach it. I remember waiting for them, because a lot of what I do is just wait for the groups, and I see the name tags, and I go, okay, and I can follow along and figure out where they are and what clue they are supposed to be trying to find, and if I should send them back, or send them forward or whatever. And this group had waited forever, and they saw me, and I sent them back, and then they moved. Because they saw me, they gave them a clue to sort of these clouds, and they ended up looking for clouds, and
totally the wrong.
There's those
we know you're right.
kiosks with information on them. They have a red umbrella, and they thought those might be the clouds. It never occurred to them that there was a guy that they spoke to like 45 years ago who probably, you could ask. This is the people that I did call them.
Spoiler!
Yeah. So we actually ended up calling. So we were kind of freaking out. We were on the phone. This is the first time this had happened. Again, it's a lot of problem solving on the fly. So Art calls me, or I call him, and we're like, this group is lost, and we don't know where they are. And I was like, oh no, I can't call them, because Charlotte has no idea that this Red Cloud organization exists, really. So she can't get them back on track. So I was like, oh, what are we going to do? And Art was like, I got it. And so he actually called them as Red Cloud, and he goes, are you looking for the Red Clouds? Yeah. And he goes, maybe it's Cedar and Broadway. And he hangs up, and they go, and then we got them back on track. So, even if things go horribly wrong, we've been able to get them to go back on the right track. So it actually hasn't been too challenging in that respect.
I don't need it. Wow. How many shows have you done? Like, how many different audiences have been run through this now?
We've been doing, well, we had to cancel the hurricane. We had to cancel those weekends. We do like 24 people a day.
Let's you pull up her calculator.
I don't know. I seriously have no idea. 24 times what? 8, 16,
12 by each weekend would be 48.
We've done 44. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
okay, different math. 48 times.
How many weeks?
How many weeks have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've done like 12 weeks now. July, August, September. Yeah. So far, 576 people.
Wow.
And we've got 2 more weekends. So, yeah, maybe more. Hopefully more.
Did you need permits or insurance or any of that stuff to do this? Or how did that work?
No, yeah, I don't know. The theater company has a liability insurance, so I'm pretty sure that covers audience members if something were to happen to them. But other than that, no. I don't know. Am I horribly irresponsible? We haven't had any problems. You're walking around New York City, so I don't know. If New York City could sue New York City too.
Do you waiver the audience?
We don't waiver the audience. Maybe we should. People mention that, but no. I don't know. The people we haven't had a problem. So, and Suspicious Package, we never had a problem either. Even though we did that for about 1,500 people have seen Suspicious Package. Well, probably 2,000 when you count the other one. So, I don't know. I guess maybe the people who come to this aren't really suing type of people. But also, I don't have any money, so if you sue me, you're not gonna get much.
We have a question from the.
Cool! Yay! Awesome.
This one's from Erin. She's just wondering if you have any future projects in the works, or if you're writing anything going on here.
I just started to get ideas for things now that this is kind of winding down. I have this idea of, this one's sort of relying on the mail, so if the post office closes, then I can't do it. But I have this idea of having you sign up, I guess you'd buy a ticket online, and then you would get mail for a month, and packages and postcards, and it would tell a story. That's sort of one idea that I've been playing with. But again, it does require mail. So FedEx would probably be way too expensive to actually make that work. I do have another idea, which I've been kind of trying to figure out, because we do this in the summer. We do this when it's nice out, and at some point, even if we sell all the tickets the next 2 weekends, and I get people to do it the next weekend, if we can figure out a way to extend it, at some point we have to close it because it's going to be miserable out, and nobody wants to tromp around in the snow and solve puzzles. Maybe they do, but I don't know about everybody. So that would be hardcore people. So I've actually been trying to figure out a way to do something in the winter, and I think I actually just have an idea, but it's really new, so I don't want to. I'm not really ready to talk about it yet because I just had it like 2 days ago. But I think so. Maybe not this winter, but next winter there might be a winter one, which you can do in the snow, which would be cool. So that's kind of exciting. So that's sort of what I'm working on next. I think, hopefully. More questions?
I'll just say it.
Okay.
So how do you go about writing this? I mean, it's taking place across a couple different platforms. How do you sort of go about telling that story?
How do I go about writing this? It's really interesting because the big challenge for me is that until we've done our run through of it, I don't actually know what it is. And that was true with Suspicious Package. I wrote these 6 stories and we edited them together, and then I was hoping it would work. But you don't actually know until you actually do it. So I kind of just keep starting at the beginning. So I sort of keep on restarting at the beginning and go through, and then I get to a point where like, oh, something else happens on it. There's a website or something, and then that usually confuses me and I have to start again. So I sort of go through it from the beginning over and over and over again. The problem is it's a mess. Suspicious Package 2 got published in a book called Plays and Playwrights, 2010, which was amazing. But putting the script together was crazy because it was like written on scripts, like scraps of paper, and I had like voiceovers that I'd given to actors to read, and then like I rewrote them, and it was scratched out. So, it doesn't read coherent. I mean, it sort of reads in sections. So it's not the easiest thing to script out. So it's like piles of paper and documents on my computer. It's a little messy, I have to say. I don't know if there's a way around that, unfortunately.
So is each story the same? I mean, is each experience pretty similar?
In this one, it is. Suspicious Package was basically 6 different stories, which actually was a lot more writing because that was really hard. This is only 1 story, so basically you go through it as a group, and there are a few decision points that, how you interact with each of the actors is up to you. And there's some questions that you get asked at the end, which do slightly affect things, but pretty much it's the same experience. People keep on saying, you should have one where there's a choice, which would be great, but for $30, we're sort of, it's $30. So come on, guys. give us a break.
You get a drink, right?
Well, and you get a drink as part of it, yeah. So, you get a drink at the bar as part of your ticket. So it's really like $22.
So we'll take the last question in the back.
Okay. Would you say that the story is kind of impinged upon by the method of delivery, like the Zune for Suspicious Package, or like with the one you're trying to develop that the post office involved mail? Would you say that the method of delivering this story kind of shapes the way you write the story?
I absolutely would. The thing about, with the Zoom stuff, one of the things that we discovered that was I thought was pretty cool, was that when you have a scene with someone, as an actor, in the store or whatever, and you have your scene and they read their lines, and then when it's over, you actually have a voiceover track in your earphones that tells you what you think about what just happened, which is pretty cool. So I think it's cool. I'm sorry if maybe it's the lamest thing ever, but I thought it was pretty cool when I heard it. So like if you have a scene with your sister and she's, you're asking her to borrow money and she says no, and then you leave and you're like, oh, my sister, she's such a cheapskate, my God, blah, blah, blah. You hear what you're thinking. So that was something that we were able to use. The earphones and the technology of that was really able to we were able to come up with that, which I don't even know if I would have come up with that if we weren't using that technology. And the same thing is like those video flashbacks, because we had a video screen. It was like, at first, it was more of an oral experience, and then it was like, oh, we're not really using the screen, we should use the screen more than just for maps, and so that was sort of how the flashbacks came into being, which I think really enriched the experience, but again, it was something that was driven by the fact that we had these video MP3 players, which were really great. And so again, I think dealing with phones and texting and stuff, and at first this was just texting. If you see the press photo, it has Bitter Financials Not What It Seems on the press photo. Let me see if I can find that. And so that was originally, it was all going to be via text, and then when I started to go through it, it was really boring. to get all these. So you got a text, you replied, you got a text, you replied. After a while, you're like, okay, I get it. So that's when we added all the phone calls to try to break up the monotony of that, and also use that technology, which I think helps richen the experience for people instead of just a bunch of text, which is my original idea. So yeah, I would say that definitely whatever medium I end up using does definitely influence how the story is told. I don't know that. I think if you don't do that, I think that you're doing yourself a disservice. I would say.
All calls are pre-recorded?
The calls are all pre-recorded, yes, unless you go off course and our calls are pre-recorded. Yeah, because we're doing 4 groups in a row. I guess we could have somebody standing by, but it seemed a lot easier. Because we do troubleshoot, we have a screen that shows us where everyone is, and occasionally we do have to run and get people or fix things. So generally we're doing that if we have free time, not calling people. So we wanted to make it as easy as possible to free ourselves to fix other problems if they can.
Excellent. Thank you so much.